So the phonemic chart was created by Adrian Underhill, and what it does is that it organizes all the possible phonemes in English. So what you don't find here is the allophones and all the phones. That there are some phones that were not represented here. What is special about the phonemic chart is that there is an explanation to the order in which the sounds appear. So first you have three big rectangles here. So the first rectangle here, you will have the vowels, all the possible vowel sounds in English. And then you will have the diphthongs in English, and then we'll be talking about these two ones next time. And then the bottom rectangle presents all the possible consonant phonemes in English, and you will see that they are 24. So this is the BBC version of the phonemic chart, and then you can also find the CNN version. There are some differences, some slight differences we'll be talking about later. Because in the BBC phonemic chart there are more phonemes, we'll be talking about what doesn't exist in the North American phonemic system later, and also what differences we have. So we will use BBC as a reference. So the first thing we need to understand is that there are three rows here of sounds. You will have the first row, the second row, and the third row. Let's analyze what happens here. Part 1. The first row of consonants in the phonemic chart. So this is the first row of the phonemic chart. As we saw, consonants are classified taking voicing, place, and manner into consideration. The first thing you notice is that in this chart, similar sounds are put together in pairs. So p and b are the same sound. And what's the only difference between them? Voicing. The first one is voiceless, no vibration. The second one is voiced. The same thing here for this pair, t and da, ch and ja, k and ga. All right? So you will have voicing as the first thing. The second thing you will see is that these sounds are all organized in place of articulation. So first we start with bilabial sounds, p and b. And then you will have alveolar sounds, t and d. And then palato-alveolar or post-alveolar sounds, and then velar sounds. All right? So they are organized in order of place of articulation. Bilabial, alveolar, post-alveolar, and velar. And I'm going to show you this. So take a look. The first sound there, p. Let's check how it is produced.
Pa. Pa.
Look what happens.
Pa.
Lips touch each other.
Pa.
Right? What happens to your velum here? It
Pa.
goes up, and then
Pa.
air cannot escape through the nose. So this is an oral
Pa.
phoneme. All right? Now take a
Pa.
look what happens with your vocal folds here.
Pa.
Nothing. It doesn't vibrate. This is different from his fellow brother. This is different from his fellow brother. This sound here. Take a look.
Ba. Ba.
Exact the same sound except for this part. Take a look.
Ba. Ba. Ba.
There is vibration, okay? You see, you close your mouth.
Ba. Ba.
This is a plosive
Ba.
manner,
Ba.
okay? They touch each other and they block
Ba.
the airflow, okay? Now, let's check this sound here.
Ta. Ta.
Look, the blade of the tongue touches the alveolar ridge.
Ta. Ta.
Velum is up. There is no vibration.
Ta. Ta. Ta.
Okay? The only difference here, the only difference in this sound is
Da.
voicing.
Da. Da.
So, what's the place of articulation?
Da.
Alveolar. What is the manner of
Da.
articulation? plosive because you block the airflow and then you release it at once.
Da.
Velum is up. In this case, it is a voiced sound. Okay? Now take a look at this one here.
Cha. Cha.
Cha.
Cha.
So what's happening is that the blade of the tongue is not touching the alveolar ridge, but the post-alveolar ridge.
Cha.
So here you have alveolar ridge, post-alveolar, hard palate, and soft palate. Take a look.
Cha.
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 No vibration. So this is not a plosive sound, as we saw, because it starts as a plosive and it ends as a fricative. This is called an affricate sound. Same thing here.
Ja.
Same sound,
Ja.
but there is vibration. Now, next we have this one.
Ka. Ka.
Right? You will have the back part of your tongue touching, approaching your velum.
Ka. Ka.
This is why it's called velar. So the place of articulation, velar. The manner of articulation, plosive, because it blocks the airflow and then it releases it at once.
Ka.
Take a look at your vocal folds. It does not vibrate. Unlike this one here, which
Ga. Ga.
there is vibration. Okay? So this is what we have for the first row. You have the plosive sounds and the affricate sounds, which start plosive as well, right? Organized in order of place of articulation, starting with your lips down to your velum. Okay? So this is how the first row is organized, and these are the symbols we use to represent them. Part 2, the second row of consonants in the phonemic chart. The second row is the simplest one because, well, first we'll have the pairs again. Fa, va, voiceless and voiced. Th, the, think, this, voiceless and voiced. They're friends here. Sa, za, same sound except for the voicing, and sh, j, okay? All these sounds are organized in place of articulation. So first you have the labiodental, the dental, alveolar, and then palatal-alveolar or post-alveolar. And what they have in common is that all of them are fricative. So in the second row, the two articulators touch each other continuously and air can still escape. So you will have here this sound, the first one. Take a look.
Fa.
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 So you have your bottom lip touching your upper teeth. This is labiodental. Right? Velum is up and there is no vibration. Fa.
Fa.
It's fricative because air can still flow. Alright? The only difference between this one and this one
Va.
is vocal folds.
Va.
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 Okay? Now, after labiodental, we have these two phonemes here that do not exist in Portuguese. So the first one is th, as in thing, or toothbrush, or with, right? So, take a look. So, the blade of the tongue is touching the upper teeth, not the alveolar ridge, the upper teeth. So this is why it's very difficult for Brazilians to make it, and they normally associate it with the f sound, so they say I think, because it's very close to the upper lip, or they will say I sink, because it's very close to the alveolar ridge, but we should touch the upper teeth. Think. Velum is up, there is no vibration. And then his fellow brother is this one here, da, like in that, wither, smooth, right? Take a look here.
The.
Try again.
The.
So same thing, except there is vibration. There is vibration. The. Okay? All right, then we move on to these two sounds. They do exist in Portuguese. Sa. Blade of the tongue touching the blade of the tongue touching your alveolar ridge. There is no vibration. And then same thing. Same thing, except for vocal folds vibrating. It's raining. I hope you can still hear. And then we'll have the sh symbol. Shoe, fishing, wish. Let's see what happens. So you will have here, you see the front part of the tongue touching your post-alveolar region. You have the sound in English. And then j, just like in vision and beige. J. In Portuguese, it would be something like jaca, right? J. J. Vibration. Sh and j are the same sound except for the vocal folds. This is what we have here. Fa, va, sa, the, sa, za, sh, ja. And this is the second row of consonants. Part 3, the third row of consonants in the phonemic chart. So the third row of consonants, you have different groups. Instead of what happens with the first two rows, you will have the remaining phonemes of English. So first you will have here the nasals, ma, na, all right, they are a group of sounds here. All the nasals are voiced. Your vocal folds vibrate. Then you will have the only glottal phoneme in English, ha, ha. Then you have the approximants, and both of them are voiced, la and ra. And then you will have the semi-vowels, wa and ya. All right, so one group here, another group, isolated, and another group. Let's check the place of articulation. Where does that happen? So m is bilabial, as we saw, alveolar and velar. Okay? Then this one is glottal. This one is alveolar, palato-alveolar, as we saw, bilabial, and palato-alveolar as well. Now the manner is what organizes them in groups. We have the nasal consonants here, the fricative one, right? We have the lateral approximants, and we have the approximant sounds. Let's take a look. Starting with the nasals, the m sound, mask, amount, calm, calm. All right, so this is So it's a bilabial sound, so this is the place of articulation. Now let's check how it happens. Take a look at the velum here. It doesn't go up. So because it doesn't go up, air can escape through your nose. This is a nasal sound. Okay, and check what happens here. There is vibration, ma. Okay, next we'll have this one here, which is also nasal. How do we know that? Because the velum doesn't go up, so air can escape through the nose. Now, what happens is that you will have the tip or the blade of your tongue touching the alveolar ridge here. You see? So, nasal, and there is vibration. And then we'll have this word here, just like singer or ring. Let's check. This is what happens. Air escapes through your nose, there is vibration, and then you will have the back of your tongue touching your velum. This is why is a velar consonant. Then we move to that isolated sound. Ha, happy, greyhound. Take a look. Nothing will happen in your oral cavity.
Ha.
Look,
Ha.
it works as a vowel, okay? And take a look here. If it was a vowel, there would be vibration here. But there is not a lot of vibration, just a little bit. This is why you cannot see it. So the only difference between ha and vowels is that vocal folds get a little bit closer, but not very much. House. This is the only glottal phoneme in English. Then we move to the lateral phonemes. Late, balloon, fall. Let's check here. Yeah, this you will have the tip or the blade of your tongue touching the alveolar ridge, and air escapes through the lateral part of your mouth. You can't see it here, but you can feel it in your vocal tract. The velum is up, and there is vibration. Okay? And then you will have that sound. Rope. Far. Take a look. Take a look. You will have the front part of your tongue approaching but not touching your hard palate. Okay? And then we have the semi-vowels. What? You see that when you produce them, the articulators do not touch each other. They get close to each other. Okay? Wa. So this is why it's an approximate phoneme. And then you will have this one here. Ya, as in yellow. Take a look.
Yeah.
So the front part of your tongue approaching the post-alveolar region. So this is what you have here for the third row. So quick recap. All the consonants are in the third rectangle here. In the first row, you have all the plosive sounds plus the affricate sounds. They are organized in place of articulation, bilabials, alveolars, post-alveolars, and velar. And also they are organized in whether they are voiceless or voiced. And then in the second row, all of them are fricatives, but they are organized in place of articulation, starting with labiodentals, dentals, alveolar, and post-alveolar. Okay? And then in the third row, you will have different groups, different remaining groups. You have the first three nasal here, and they're organized in place of articulation by labial, alveolar, and velar. You have this isolated sound, which is fricative, and it's the only glottal sound in English. You have the lateral approximant sounds here, and then you will have the approximant sounds. So this is the inventory of phonemes in the English language. Now that you understand how all the consonant phonemes in English work and how to produce them, it's time to practice and try to remember them. So what I recommend you do is print the phonemic chart. You can find it available on our resources tab, and also try different ways of practicing and memorizing it. For example, think of a word such as monkey, and then try to point to the phonemes in this word. For example, monkey. We have m and k, two consonants here. And then love, we'll have l and v. And then think, you will have th and k. And then catch, you will have k and ch. This is a very nice way of remembering and memorizing it. And try to write it down as well. I hope you had fun. Hi everyone. So today we are going to start getting